Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are diving straight into a massive, honestly kind of mind-bending shift happening right now in our everyday lives. We're going to do a forensic breakdown of the data, the internal corporate strategies, and the security research showing how a totally normal, stylish fashion accessory is systematically dismantling our fundamental right to public anonymity. I want you to imagine something for a second. You're walking through a busy city square, right? You're surrounded by hundreds of faces you've never seen before. For pretty much all of human history, that crowd gave you this amazing invisible shield, the simple ability to just be an anonymous stranger. But what if that historical shield is literally being taken apart piece by piece? Imagine if every single person walking toward you, wearing a pair of cool sunglasses, could instantly see your name, your job, and your home address just floating right there in midair. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1. The weapon, the return of recognition. To really get our heads around this societal shift, we have to look directly at the tech that's driving it. So let's rewind a bit to 2021. You might remember Meta making this huge, very public show of hitting the brakes on their facial recognition system. They publicly claimed they wanted to limit its use in society. Well, it turns out that was definitely more of a pause than a stop. Because fast forward to 2023, and they've quietly slipped this technology right into millions of pairs of Ray-Ban smart glasses. And then, by 2024, the public really started seeing the galling consequences of that tech making a comeback.
So what is actually happening behind the lenses? Internally, Meta has a capability known as the name tag feature. It's essentially using AI to bridge that gap between just seeing a random face on the street and instantly pulling up that person's entire digital footprint. It takes the face you're staring at and seamlessly cross-references it against millions of public Meta profiles.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how insanely frictionless this privacy erosion has become. There's no complex Hollywood-style hacking required here. Step 1, you simply look at a stranger. Step 2, the AI silently matches their face. Step 3, their public Meta profile just pops up instantly. It completely wipes out the barrier between physical anonymity and total digital exposure. And guys, we really need to grasp the sheer scale of this rollout. 7 million. That is how many pairs of these smart glasses Meta sold just last year alone. To put that into perspective, we aren't talking about a handful of early tech adopters anymore. Security researchers are warning that our regular, everyday streets are basically being turned into this massive, interconnected network of walking cameras. Which brings us to Section 2, the evidence, the Harvard proof. Now, you might be listening to this and thinking, come on, this sounds like some futuristic what-if scenario. No way it's happening right now, right? Well, in 2024, a couple of Harvard students proved exactly how vulnerable we already are. By pairing normal Meta Ray-Bans with some third-party software, they went out and successfully identified complete strangers in public. And they didn't just get names, they were pulling up home addresses and highly sensitive family details on the fly. It proved a systemic risk. Literally anyone standing in line for a coffee can potentially be doxxed by a total stranger. Let's move to Section 3, the motive, the distraction strategy. So the crucial point we need to ask is, if facial recognition was such a massive, controversial PR nightmare back in 2021, why reintroduce it now? Well, we have a leaked Meta document obtained by the New York Times, and it is incredibly revealing. Meta executives explicitly noted that the current environment is good timing to bring facial recognition back, because civil society groups are distracted. Yeah, they're banking on the idea that the public is just too exhausted by other massive global issues to put up a fight. Privacy advocates look at this and argue it's a highly calculated corporate strategy. It's about prioritizing monetary extraction and relentless data collection over basic human consent. The whole approach relies on quietly harvesting our rights, while we are just too overwhelmed to notice it's even happening. Section 4, the ultimate price, invading the private domain. And look, this surveillance isn't just stopping at the edge of the city square. The sources report some incredibly severe concerns about the hardware itself. Since these glasses are specifically designed for all-day wear, they're sweeping up data in places that public CCTV cameras could never, ever reach, like right inside our homes. Experts are raising the alarm that these devices are monitoring users during deeply private moments. We're talking everything from undressing to using the bathroom. It is providing an absolute treasure trove of raw visual and audio data that's continually used to train Meta's AI models. And critics point out a really dark irony here. Consumers are the ones actually buying these things. We are essentially paying a permission fee out of our own pockets to carry around a surveillance device.
We're funding our own transformation into mobile monitoring nodes that track every single person we bump into on the street. This represents a huge, massive philosophical shift in consumer technology over the last 20 years. Just think back to an era defined by devices like the iPod. That was mainstream tech that purely served the person who bought it. You bought it, it played your music. End of story. Contrast that with today's smart wearables, which increasingly exist primarily to monitor the user and extract their data for the manufacturer. In that data extraction, it is fueling this absolutely staggering number, a $4 trillion company. Analysts and privacy advocates make a really compelling case here. All of this lost privacy, all of this public mapping, it's being sold to us under the shiny guise of convenience. But really, it's functioning as a massive cash and data extraction exercise for one of the wealthiest corporations in human history. So we've walked through the timeline, the internal strategies, and that deeply alarming proof of concept from Harvard. Now the big question is, are you ready to live in a world where strangers simply don't exist anymore? Or is this the exact moment society needs to draw a hard line in the sand for public privacy? By understanding the data and the motives driving this tech, you're now fully equipped to answer that for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning and keep learning.